The news day continues here in One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. Nomura Global Markets Research sees increased infrastructure projects in the Philippines. The research firm said the country and its regional peers like Indonesia and India have been making significant progress in project execution. It explained that these countries have addressed underspending issues, improved planning, and simplified procurement rules. Nomura said progress in executing infrastructure plans is boosting private sector participation that helps to ease fiscal funding constraints. In March, the administration of President Bongbong Marcos approved 194 flagship infrastructure projects with total investments of 8.2 trillion pesos. Canada has added 13 countries, including the Philippines, in its expanded visa-free travel program. Instead of a visa, eligible citizens from the Philippines can now apply for electronic travel authorization. One should have held a Canadian visa in the last 10 years or currently holds a valid U.S. non-immigrant visa. This would make it easier for travelers to go to Canada for up to 6 months for either business or leisure. For Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, expanding the ETA program is also part of their Indo-Pacific strategy. She explained that they look to further engage in the region and build on people-to-people ties. Metro Pacific Investments Corporation will have to restart its delisting process. MPIC President, CEO, and Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan said the consortium of companies seeking to take MPIC private are, quote, back to square one, as the Philippine Stock Exchange has rejected their selected Independent Financial Advisor, or IFA. Pangilinan said the IFA was not considered independent enough, as it had already conducted business with the shareholders of MPIC and some of the bidders. Pangilinan said the bidders are likely to appoint a new independent financial advisor.
We've been given an accredited list. Most of them have done work for us because we're a big group, right? I mean, if you count PLDT and Meralco, and so there are probably only 2 that have not done much work or little work or no work for us. So we probably narrow down to 1 of the 2.
In April, the bidding consortium offered to acquire MPIC common shares at 4 pesos 63 centavos apiece, representing a 22% premium over the company's 1-year volume-weighted average price. However, the bidding consortium may still quote a price different from what it offered minority shareholders of the listed conglomerate. The bidding consortium is composed of GT Capital Holdings, Metro Pacific Holdings, MIG Holdings, and MIT Pacific Infrastructure Holdings Corp. Pangilinan says the process will restart after the IFA has determined the price. The shareholders voting for the delisting was originally scheduled yesterday, June 6th.
And then the process will then restart after the IFA is determined that the price, they'll probably give a range of X to Y, and then we will have to submit that again to the PSC and the SEC.
President Bongbong Marcos welcomed news of the country's inflation slowing further in May. This after the Philippine Statistics Authority recorded May inflation at 6.1% for a 4th straight month of decline. That's lower than the 6.6% logged in April. In a recorded message on Facebook, the president attributed the lower inflation to the policies that his administration implemented. The president also touted the country's growth rate.
It would seem that we have started off in the right direction, on the right foot. Tama naman yata ang ating ginawang mga pulisiya para pabuhayin ulit at gawing masigla ulit ang ating ekonomiya. Sa ngayon, yung growth rate natin ay maganda pa rin at siguro isa na sa pinakamaganda sa buong mundo.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. A dozen organizations, including the Foundation for Economic Freedom, have opposed the Maharlika Investment Fund before it secured approval from both houses of Congress. FEF Chairman Roberto Bobby de Ocampo described it a good idea whose time has not yet come. Kathy Yang of Thought Leaders spoke with de Ocampo following the fund's approval, and this is what he had to say.
The problem I see is twofold, really. The first one is, if it is as restricted as that, what exactly will it generate that is going to be a major contributor? The second is, because it is an investment fund, therefore you ought to have people who to decide what to invest in. And right now, the world economy is not in the best shape for hunting down good rates of return on investment. That's why I said, good idea whose time has not yet come. I was kind of suggesting, why don't you discuss it some more, refine it some more, and jump into the fray once things have settled down. Then you can have a better idea of what rate of return you can get for what. And finally, there are all kinds of investments. There's investment in financial paper, there's investment in real estate, there's investment in basketball teams, and on and on and on. If you have a fund like this, then you have to have it managed by people that know what they're doing. A Philippine Warren Buffett, for example. But if you're going to get someone like that, you don't pay them a pittance. And then the way the organization is structured, it's got committees and advisors and da-da-da-da. And therefore, it seems immediately to have a high expense on the salary level. If that expense has to be funded by the returns on investment of the fund, then there is a built-in temptation to go for higher risk and higher returns.
In other news, President Bongbong Marcos has approved a blueprint for the Philippine export industry. This comes days after the country's membership in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership took effect. Under the Philippine Export Development Plan, the government will enforce, quote, industry-level interventions to address challenges in the sector. That's opposed to the macro-level policies that Trade Chief Alfredo Pascual said the Philippines had been implementing. Aside from an industry-level scope, Pascual says the government must also create policies to address issues at a company level.
What we're proposing in the Export Development Plan is industry-level intervention or policy issuances that will support sector development. We believe that we need to work closely with individual firms to be able to take care of their needs as they venture into potential export business for their companies.
President Bongbong Marcos welcomed the tie-up between the Agriculture Department and a South Korean cooperative for mechanization efforts. The President witnessed the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the DA and the Korea Agricultural Machinery Industry Cooperative, or KAMICO, at the Palace. The tie-up aims to improve agricultural productivity and food security in the country. The President said mechanization is crucial to boosting agri-production, especially amid the country's efforts to become rice self-sufficient. Farmers are also seen to become more competitive, as establishing local machinery production would mean better yield and lower costs. A new study shows women are more likely to be replaced by AI. Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde has the quick take.
Women, we are going to be hit harder by AI. Here's why. You've heard the worry that artificial intelligence can amplify bias due to the data it's trained on. But it might also amplify bias in the workforce. One HR firm, Revelio Labs, identified the jobs most likely to be replaced by AI. and then the gender breakdown of those jobs. Guess what? They're generally held by women. Bill and account collectors, payroll clerks, executive assistants. Already, we've seen it hit home. Just think, IBM has said it's slowing hiring in back office functions where AI can replace roles, like HR. Well, guess what gender dominates there? IBM alone said that this could hit close to 8,000 jobs. Reskilling, retraining, that is going to be key here.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.